When a sex worker is discriminated against by accusing her of being a prostitute, I smile. I smile for the simple reason that people miss a very important detail, I would say fundamental. Anyone who practices any job to obtain economic feedback, practices prostitution. Etymologically, prostitute means to put up for sale. Selling your sex for money is no worse than selling another part of your body, including your brain. Some societies criminalize sexual sharing due to Judeo-Muslim Christian values that say, sex is bad. I'd rather see a girl sell her body for sex, than a scientist sell his brain to the arms industry, who will use her knowledge to kill millions. Sex, with due precautions, is never intended to kill anyone.
Mine was a choice based solely on the need to live. Since I had no other work alternatives. In this society, if you don't make money, you can't survive. It is a sort of slavery, an addiction to money. It is the result of capitalism, and we should not be proud of it. Why did I choose this job? Only for the money. At the beginning it was difficult to accept, but then, looking around, I said to myself that after all it is a job like any other. Between prostitute my mind and prostitute my body, I did not hesitate only one moment. The great advantage that prostitution offers me, is that it allows me to work very little and earn a lot. In this way, I can dedicate most of my day to do what I like most. I feel lucky to have undertaken this job, because it ensures me certainties for the future, considering the difficulties that people encounter in the working world today. For example, exploitation, submission to the wishes of the master in turn, inadequate remuneration, be forced to carry out work that do not like, unemployment, precariousness, and much more. These are just some of the aspects that convinced me to radically change life. Having sex in exchange for money, it is after all as a way like any other, to earn a living. This blue planet with life and an atmosphere. I look closer and I can't. The moral question is the real problem of this society, which is in constant conflict between past, present and future. The moral question is entirely relative, because it changes from generation to generation. Today, those who judge and point fingers are anchored in religions whose old moral principles certainly do not reflect love of neighbor, freedom and respect. Only because they come from vulgar, moralistic and guilty primitivism. They are individuals incapable of questioning themselves and of analyzing things rationally, and therefore they do not respect differences. We know that the only constant in our life is change. Let us therefore wait for the old paradigms to give way to the new and more current ones. That is to say, respect for the freedom of each individual. Color-coded just to keep me sane. My world is finally...
Here is a reasoning that cannot be conceived more just. Evidently, all prostituted workers for life do not have the opportunity to have either the physique of this woman, or her fantastic lucidity. But she can make a reflection on our way of acting and thinking. There are workers who break their backs doing hard work. Some prostitute their brains, carrying out intellectual work, others their hands, working as laborers in factories, and in both cases, it is prostitution. They can do it with their hands, their brains, their sex or singing, and since they do it for money, it's prostitution. As long as money exists, there will be people who will do things for money. Every being works to obtain a living, in exchange practice prostitution. So yes, prostitution, i.e. the sale of any part of one's body, including the brain, hands or voice, for money, could be a wrong thing. But in our world, it's up to each person to decide what they want to sell or no. We must leave everyone free to live his life the way he wants. Freedom is the key. But, of course, when a woman, or a man, is victimized and forced into prostitution against her will, by pimps or by a criminal prostitution network, we must fight against this and protect the victims. But as long as it's free will, an independent, adult person, we have to respect their freedom, to make money the way they want. I would also add another form of prostitution that is completely accepted, both socially and morally: women who marry rich men for their money. This is also prostitution. And it happens every day and is perfectly accepted by all. Even kings used to marry off princesses from neighboring realms in order to create more powerful alliances. Therefore, when you have a sexual relationship to get anything in return, it is prostitution. Even if the exchange in question is the comfort of being the wife of a rich person. And besides marriage, there are many women who live only by being the mistresses of rich men. We can also talk about Muslims having as many women as they can financially support. Again, our body cannot be separated into pure parts and impure parts. Catholics teach that sex is dirty, and the spirit is pure, which is utterly stupid. There are some people who are lucky enough to do a job that is also their passion. This should be everyone's privilege. And we must remember that, even if it is a small minority, there are women who love prostitution. There have also been religions that have had what they called sacred prostitutes. We must always remember the basic principles. Do what you want as long as you don't hurt or kill anyone, including yourself. And use your life to raise the level of love, science, consciousness and happiness on this planet. Can a prostitute raise the level of love, science, conscience and happiness on this planet? It is certainly possible. Can a traditional Catholic non-prostitute woman harm the level of love, science, conscience and happiness on this planet? Equally, absolutely possible. We can only hope that one day, money will disappear and people will be able to do things solely for pleasure. We should all be doing something we love as a job, but without any compensation. Just for the pleasure of doing it. One day we will have a society of leisure, without work and without money. It is a must for this society. It will inevitably happen. So, what is not prostitution? Do something you love, without expecting anything in return.